one Chronicler?
With these, you could try. I think that Ashe can be really punishing, right, if you're able. But if this was like a Braum instead of a Renata, you know, you're going ham.
It's Keria's Braum. I don't want you to say that ever again.
Hey, Keria's Braum, when he's not engaging, is great. When he is engaging, it's not necessarily the greatest. But no, I do think that the first action we're going to see more so towards the Dragons, the Heralds, and again, particularly for TL, I want to see how well Pyosik and APA are able to try and play, and how are they going to relieve pressure? Because with this Ashe Keria, or rather Ashe Renata lane, my expectation is that T1 is looking to start bullying very early on and never really relents. And we have seen that T1, this goes back to spring, but that was the style that they were extremely dominant in, and allowed them to snowball games in a very unfun experience for their opponents.
But now the Ashe player has changed.
Very true.
In this lane, as of course, Keria moving over to the Renata this time around. Ashe not necessarily a sport as much as she used to be. As logistics program is being read out to Yeon, and he didn't like it at all. Not into it.
No, not an enjoyer of the program. Did go Fleet Footwork, so we'll be able to sustain up a little bit, but do have to be ready for the amount of pressure that's going to come out from this lane early on. And especially when you're playing Engage Support, Renata is a bit of a, middle of the pack because she's an enchanter, but also really good in terms of counter engage, is that you want to really respect the level 1 so that you actually have a window to go in. And if your health bar is already too low, then that's not really going to be the case. Case in point.
Yeah, there's a bit of a handshake there from Keria. Is going to get cleansed. So gets a cleanse on a level 1 Aphelios. Things not necessarily going TL's way here at this stage, but as you already illustrated, this is to be expected in that lane. Zeus is going to go to the skies, and Summit is going to look to try and fight back here, but Conqueror procced, and the Jayce is having just a great time.
Oh, and Oner actually changing his
another one
pathing.
Comes through, and now the flash. Keria is just throwing out abilities and getting summoner spells.
Do note though, Pyosik starting upside of the map. We're going to have opposite sides here, as there might be a dive onto Summit, but Guma and Keria, are they going to be okay with Pyosik moving in?
Yeah, Summit trying to deal with this minion wave, but it is just too big. They do manage to get a teleport out. Can they kill him in time? That is going to be the 1-for-1, as now the stun comes in. It's a 2-for-1, and TL trade up. Now Pyosik making his move towards the bottom side. The Q's going to land. Gumayusi's in so much trouble, and CoreJJ just said, I take down this team. It's my job, man.
And TL coming up huge early. Yes, Yeon and Core get pushed in, but it seems like T1 wasn't ready for the gank coming in from Pyosik straight from his red buff down to the bot side. And then here, I think Oner just a little bit slow. It actually gives plenty of time for Summits to level up, regain some health, and then level 3 this early on. You just can't tank the turrets. And if that's a 1-for-1 trade, maybe you take it, but now it's a big win, and then here as well.
Oh, the flash. That's very unfortunate there for Gumayusi. Getting caught in the CC regardless. CoreJJ just crashing down on him, and we're starting off with a 3-1 in favor of TL. And I want to go back to a conversation that I had with Jat. He referred to this earlier on. And we were having the chat, and I was telling him, like, if the game goes, TL gets an early lead, and then T1 stabilizes in the mid game and wins, do you think that that's an expected outcome? And he was like, yes. But the other option is TL just keeps up the pressure. They just keep going, and then they win. Or they, there could be a throw situation or something like that. Zeus is fighting against Summit here towards his top side. Still, Summit not having the greatest of times up here, but Oner, I mean, he's got a pretty nice tent up here, as it turns out.
He does. And we'll see if this dive tent is better. Pyosik will get spotted, so I think that should be enough reason to maybe call it off. But I think the goal for T1 here is just to deny as much CS and experience as possible. Maybe pick up a plate as well, and they will be able to do that. But with Pyosik having to top side, dive not going to be repeated here. And yeah, T1 clearly came into this game trying to play as lane dominant as possible. And I think TL's response thus far, not too bad, but when you look at the CS, even with that play towards bot side, you do see that the dues are still being paid, and that this Ashe Renata lane is still really oppressive to play into, because Yeon is still very far behind in CS, and when we look at the actual gold, it's been equalized.
Yeah, it certainly has. In this mid lane, APA has been playing fantastically. Of course, didn't play a whole lot this year for TL. And there's a Shockwave. As I say it, he takes a whole bunch of damage, so perhaps the caster curses could just stop. And Pyosik looking for an opportunity here onto the Sejuani. He's going to be spotted there on the control ward, and Oner just says, no thank you, not again. Gumayusi is going to find some frost shots onto CoreJJ, gets the crash down, but Pyosik is still just trying to run away from Oner. Doesn't get the Arctic Assault over the wall. Faker was coming down, not going to be able to find him. So far, relatively smooth sailing here for TL, but we haven't seen any more of those aggressive plays that T1 tried to pull off in the early stages, and I think that we're probably just going to see some cool, calm, and collected gameplay, try and get these lanes worked out, and then set up for some of these objectives.
And I think that's the biggest difference. Even with the early gang or the early kills going the way of TL, we already have 2 plates down in top, 1 plate down in bot as well. So T1 are able to still trade pretty decently in terms of gold. Pyosik also, the constant attention that he has had to pay to his lanes has been working out, right? Forwarded the gank on top side, forwarded the gank just now on bot. Because I think that Oner might have otherwise had an angle with the complete vision denial, but it also has meant that he hasn't really been able to have the early impact, and with Lee specifically, particularly against something like a Sejuani, you're really trying to be on the front foot. You're trying to be proactive. Once you're playing reactive into Sejuani, it's not the end of the world. We have seen Lees be able to still have a big impact when we get to the later stage of the game, but it does mean that TL, playing mostly responsive, are still going to suffer when it comes to these plates and to the CS.
Yeah, and here on the bottom side of the map, you were talking about plates going down on the top side. Minions just being denied here. The Ashe Renata, of course, pretty good at it. But Gumayusi Keria, oppressive early games, kind of their bread and butter. And it looks to be going just fine here at this point. Summit, good ward. Should be able to spot out Oner as he moves on in, and there it goes.
Maybe a 2v2.
Down, but this could be some Summit baiting here towards this top side as Pyosik is making his way in. The back is going to come through, and now Pyosik's going to know that he'll have an opportunity. Full vision in this area as Zeus is going to move his way down. Feels a little bit frightened as to what could be the possibilities. Pyosik paying some attention. No Shock Blast going to make its way into the Tri-Brush just yet. Zeus does turn back up again. On vision.
Summon his ult.
There it is, and now Pyosik is coming down. There, the all-out comes through. The Q's going to land, and Zeus, he knows that he's dead. The Q's going to land beforehand, and Pyosik gets another.
Really nice setup there. The early ward from Summit, showcasing where Oner is. And Summit, with the Ksante, has the capability to drag Zeus back. Set him up for Pyosik. Much needed kill. TL, I think, needs to make this game as fast as possible. Needs to try and throw T1 off. They are now on vision, starting up this objective. Core and Yeon are already here, but with the wave that's being built up on bot side, I wouldn't be surprised if T1 just goes for the blades. Arrow coming in.
Yeah, Oner is going to get blocked out, so Pyosik is going to be able to take this one. The arrow's going to connect, but Yeon is going to be able to cleanse that one away. Oner's still looking for more. As the shockwave lands, Pyosik is going to try and safeguard his way out for the hostile takeover. Will cancel that, and Faker will grab his first of the game. TL trading the Rift Herald for just a kill. You're probably all right with it.
Alternative, Summit also went and caught that bot wave. Now they are continuing to play. APA does have teleports.
Yeah, 4 versus 3 potentially. No more shockwaves, so they don't have to worry about that orb quite as much. So APA will be able to keep his friends alive for now. Very nicely done, and I'm starting to feel like, you know, TL doing okay. I was a bit worried about that that Herald play, absolutely. But right now the goal is very, very even.
And we'll see where they place down the Herald. Haven't really been able to do a whole lot of damage to turrets outside of a plate in mid. APA, at least in the laning phase, doing a good job here. And if they can actually use that to maybe set up a dive right towards that mid lane and go from there, could be big. As we take another look at this, I really like the setup for this play. Zeus went to pick up some fruits, comes back, and is delivered into the waiting arms of Pyosik. And this is basically a zero-risk play for TL because they knew where Oner had been. And then here, you know, you end up giving up a kill, but I do agree with you. I think you take that any time. The value that Herald provides is going to be very nice. And with the mobility and a core standing guard, even though they do have to invest 2 flashes, giving up 1 kill, not the end of the world. The flashes, though, if we do have another fight coming up soon, that might be a problem.
We'll see when that fight is going to occur. Currently, no dragons have been secured. Of course, there's only one dragon at this point in time. However, has not been looked at just yet.
Yeah.
CoreJJ looking for this top side of the map as Oner is in position. Bit of a lane swap has come on through as Summit getting punished here underneath the turret. Another plate could fall, but no, the minion is going to be dealt with. Gumayusi's going to have to wait for the next round, but I don't know how much more of this Summit can actually take. And he just used his teleport to get down there.
And I think Summit should still be relatively safe, but if he's not getting any help, he can try and clear. Zeus might be targeted here again. Does have flash available.
Yep, Q gonna connect there from Yeon as now Zeus realizing that CoreJJ's there. He's gonna flash out of the way. Oh my goodness, CoreJJ almost falls, but not quite enough there from Zeus to make him take 2 turret shots. Could have been a disaster. However, no one is going to fall, and Zeus does have to use his flash.
We do have Pyosik making his way over, even with Oner being there. Looks like TL, at the very least, is going to drop the Herald here.
Yep, there is the Glacial Prison. Yeon is going to be able to get out of the way. The arrow is going to sail by majestically, and the Rift Herald is going to slam its way through. Moonlight Vigil comes down, still a lot of damage offered back here by T1, and that will deter TL from coming on through here, but still, Plate Gold does go over.
Such a good response though by T1 because TL trying to overload the top half of the map, not actually getting the kills. I hope we get some replays because there was a lot of nice work done there by TL, or T1 rather, to dodge all the skill shots, make sure that Zeus stayed alive. But on the flip side of the map, Guma and Keria can just keep going. Keria just went for the offensive ignite just to keep Summit as low as possible. And it does mean that even with the Heralds, gold will be slightly in favor of T1. But thus far, early game has actually gone even, and I do want to highlight, I think T1, the reason why, although we'll talk about it after this, because again, I want to highlight, we don't get to see Zeus sidestepping the Magnet Storm, that was really cool, but here they're able to clear out the wave, and even though the arrow doesn't actually find anyone, Zeus gets the knockback, and Oner then makes sure that he catches the Moonlight Vigil to keep his top laner alive.
Yeah, the knockback right as the kick is coming through as well to deny any sort of follow-up. Really cleanly played there defensively by T1. Not going to be able to net them any kills, only a 500 gold lead here, which is nothing to write home about whatsoever. Although postage pretty easy currently for most of the players on the Rift. Some are just clearing out waves. I do want to see TL keep up the tempo
I agree.
here in this game, and I want to see a little bit more out of APA. Of course, the Syndra, fantastic for just one-shotting carries, things like this, but as the game goes on, the utility that Orianna provides is going to give a little bit more from that mid lane.
It's hard to match. Also looking together how we can sync up with Core. I think that the Crashdown combined with the Scatter the Weak can single-handedly win you a team fight. As Yeon does have red-white.
Yeah, Q going to connect there from Pyosik, but Oner is going to be able to Arctically assault his way out. And now this dragon is getting some attention. Wards everywhere. Arrow going to connect onto APA. The hostile takeover comes through, and there is the chaining of CC. I don't know what you're supposed to do. In that moment, I think you just have to accept that you're going to die. That's precisely what happens.
Yeah, I think you have to flash the arrow.
Yeah,
that's really the only outplay on that one. APA unfortunately going down. Summit gets himself a snack. First rake is going to go over to it's setting up for a cloud, which I am loving.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, Earth, Wind, and Fire?
I know,
to
that's
start
your
off the
favorite.
Swiss stage? It's not my birthday,
so
come on.
Yeah, as we take a look at the Muscat lane economy snapshot, the big benefactor of everything that has happened thus far is Guma, because while Yeon has been dragged around the map, right? They did the lane swap to get the Herald, they tried some aggressive plays, but didn't quite work out. Guma has just been in bot, fired 2 arrows, that was about it in here, yeah. You have to flash it, otherwise, especially with Oner right there, just gonna get taken down 100%. And that is exactly the type of plays you want to try and avoid. Give T1 as little as possible in this mid game, because come team fight, I don't even think TL's comp is bad at team fighting, but trying to out team fight T1.
Yeah, with the composition that they have, especially on top of everything, they've got so much non-committal CC as well as teamfight utility.
It's a risk.
There's just a little bit too much here. So TL going to be able to look at Shirley here. Going to be able to take her down. Looks like T1 not too interested in fighting for this one, as they have some back timers to take care of beforehand. So Pyosik going to get his second Rift Herald. And TL should be able to try and use this to break open one of these lanes. Currently, they haven't taken any turrets just yet. The bot lane outer has fallen, so first brick goes to T1, contributing to their gold advantage they do have to the tune of about 1,000. Arrow going to fly through, hits Keria, hits Oner, and almost hits APA. This time he's going to flash it.
That's very unfortunate because even though he stays alive in this instance, they might try to go for a play on Zeus here.
Wait, yeah, there's the scat of the week onto Zeus, taking a lot of damage. The Unleashed power comes through, and Pyosik's going to take away the kill. Just barely. Not enough there, so requiring the Sonic Wave, but really nicely done here right after he had to burn the flash.
He was necessary, okay? Pyosik was essential to that play. Really nicely done by APA, able to get the best out of a bad situation. Zeus going down a third time now. And means that TL still remaining close in gold. And because top lane turret was already low from the continuous pressure that was applied there by TL, they're able to get the top side turret. Might be looking towards play on Faker. Pyosik does have his ult.
Yeah, there is the Warthog flash. Scat of the week not going to be able to get the stun there though, as Pyosik is going to be the target here. Faker wanting some revenge, gets the flash out of him in trade for the shockwave, as now Zeus is looking to put in some support as well. Not going to be able to catch up. TL with 3-man strong here in the mid lane against the 3 of T. Oh! The flash forward from Zeus is going to be scattered. APA doesn't have a flash of his own though, as the shockwave was looking to grab Pyosik, but they'll get the free kill on the Syndra. APA not able to make his way out.
And particularly on such a long lane, between the speed up from Faker plus the speed up from Jayce as Cole goes in.
Storm, that is going to be the hostile takeover though. It's Gumayusi's just raining hell down on CoreJJ. He's going to be the first one to fall, but Summit does get the all out onto Keria. Not going to be able to bail himself out of this one. Bit too expensive, but the Q3 is going to connect, and now Gumayusi's in trouble. The arrow's going to connect onto Yeon, but it was Summit that was the problem. And TL will answer back beautifully in mid.
And TL, not scared of what's happening in topside, immediately pulled the trigger in mid. You saw Guma there as well. I think a second of hesitation, like, oh, can I maybe help Keria? Can we try and chew through this Ksante? The answer would have been no, but that moment of hesitation, Summit is able to completely capitalize on. And initially, it's a bit of a question, do you have enough damage with just the Ksante there? But fortunately, even with Keria able to stall out the play a little bit, Summit able to make his way over, get on top of Keria. The bailout not going to be enough to save him. And actually predicting, right? Gumayusi trying to dodge the Q free, coming up huge. Well done there, and it means that still 18 minutes in, gold looking even.
Now CoreJJ will find Oner. Going to get a shattering strike off as Pyosik looking for Faker underneath the turret is going to get kicked into the wall as APA will just unleash the power and is going to reign supreme as far as the Orb Lady is concerned in this game. Summit be able to get himself into this mid lane once again, but that one is not long for the world, especially with this large minion wave. Summit's just going to have to watch it fall down. Oner just provide some support as well, and the map, something that TL hasn't necessarily paid as much attention to as the handshake does come through. That's going to be a miss on the Glacial Prison though. And so Summit's going to survive, but the inner turret is not.
Yeah, T1 is really playing with reckless abandon. Like, we haven't seen this since spring. They're just giving up people left and right just to try and get these objectives. Oner might be in a tough spot.
Yeah, there's the scat of the week, but TL not wanting to bite it off more than they can chew, especially with Yeon not quite there yet.
Dragon will be big, and T1 is set up around this objective. Not the best weapons here for Yeon. See if he can get, but there's no Faker, right? No TP available.
Yeah, that's going to be Pyosik locking that one down. It is going to be a Cloud Soul this game as well, so I guess it is my birthday. I don't need any more of those, though. I'm getting old.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. Earth, Wind, and Fire, everyone. Let's groove tonight as Gumayusi going to be clearing out this mid wave. Let's have a look at the replay once again. There's quite a few things to get through.
And the big thing here is that, as we wanted to see from TL, they are continuously going for plays. And you see here the power. Like, what do you do as Faker? Particularly if you don't have flash or any backup. You can't outplay that. The moment that Pyosik lands the kick, APA guarantees the scatter, and the damage is always going to be enough, Merc treads or no. And it's the kills where TL really has been able to get the better of T1. Now, both these teams have a habit when it comes to Barons.
Yeah.
And
very recently, it's been far more TL that have been going for those. In their playoffs, they were reminding us of some T1 of old. Just, it's hit 20 minutes. Barons on the map. Let's go there.
Why not?
Let's try and kill it. It hasn't necessarily been T1's MO towards the end of this year, though. But of course, they've had a fair few struggles there, so maybe some of the confidence played into that. T1 now going to have the opportunity to look over there, and they can at least clear out some vision So as it stands, I want to like pull us back a little bit, Chronicler.
Yeah, there's been a lot going
said
on.
90-10 on the desk.
Yes.
Current game state, where are you putting it now?
Knowing the two teams, I don't know, like 70-30?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Look at us. It's like we've it together before and we know a bit about each other.
TL thus far, really been able to keep it together. Now, what I'm worried about is the burst from, I think, the top half of the map, Summit, Pyosik, and APA right now is enough to take down anyone on T1. But once we get into the actual team fights, the fact that Yeon is really far behind, I think might actually end up becoming a problem. It depends on whether or not TL can get access to Gumayusi, whether they can deny Keria a big ultimate, make sure that Guma doesn't get bailed out by the Renata, because I do think that when you look at the damage, T1 definitely has so much burst available to them. But then also on top of that, you have the sustained damage of an Ashe, who even with the deaths that Guma has sustained, picked up, I don't know how many plates it was, but
yeah, a lot.
It's a lot.
And that's a 50 CS gap basically for Gumayusi as well. And so he's just happy Ashe. Died a couple of times, but it doesn't really matter because the bank coffers are still full. Faker with control of this Baron area, going to make his way towards the jungle. It is extraordinarily empty at this point in time. Oner finds Summit. And Summit just going to go back towards this bottom side of the map and try and clear up these minion waves. CoreJJ finds Faker once again. Shattering Strike going to come through, but he's going to be pulled back by the Shockwave. The dissonance comes in. There's the Magna Storm as Faker is pulled forward. Can he find the Clockwork Wind-Up? He doesn't need it because he's got command attack, and that is going to be the kill going over. Keria gets an assist as well and managed to get the shield down, but I'm going to almost give it a solo kill as Yeon going to have to get out of the way of that one once again. Glacial Prison in trade for the cleanse.
And T1 not pulling the trigger, so it's just going to be a kill. Not the end of the world for TL, but if you do this a few minutes later, if maybe more members of T1 are in the area, I don't think you're going to get away with just a kill in that situation. And this is where you see Faker went for Ludens as well as Void Staff. So even against one of the tankier members of TL, you just shred for him in seconds. Faker actually investing in his flash here, otherwise the arrow might have been enough. If Guma can get that as, the teleport here.
Yeah, now Faker, as you just mentioned, does not have his flash available. The Dissonance doing a fair bit of work there because of the damage. Build as Scatter the Weak is not going to quite find the man in the mid lane. Pyosik going to get slowed down, but he connects the Q, and I have a feeling that even Faker's not going to be able to make his way out of this one. He's had some daring escapes before, but without Flash, Orianna doesn't exactly have too many methods, and now the TL Baron that we were just talking about, they're going to consider it here. The rest of T1 are in the area. Faker has teleport. There's 30 seconds on TL to make this play, and if they can lock this down, it could be a huge advantage for them. They need to keep Oner out of this pit, though, as APA, he's going down low. CoreJJ looking for his opportunity. Can he play bounce so they get him out of the pit? And it's going to be Pyosik that locks down the Baron. Can they win the fight, though, is the question. The hostile takeover gets the kill, utilizing Yeon to kill APA. It's a disaster for TL and Zeus. He knows it. He's flashing over walls. Yeon's going to be able to pick up one, though, with these chakrams. Have a feeling that that might be all he's going to be able to get, but let's see what he can do here. Uses the last of his mana on the moonshot. And yeah, he's in an alcove, and I don't know whether he's getting out unless it's via the death chamber. So there it is. Going to be the kill lockdown by Zeus.
Faker TP to bot.
Oh yeah, he knew that one was done.
Pyosik and TL are able, I think they actually played that really well. The initial setup around the objective is amazing as, this is so Pyosik.
Oh, is
the
he the last
teleport.
Baron? Is he
I don't
the
know if
last
they win
Baron?
this.
Okay, let's see what can happen here. Pyosik's trying to safeguard his way out. Summit is here, but it's a little bit late as Pyosik. He cannot contribute to this, but it is a Ksante in melee range, but Gumayusi is just so dangerous. The volleys are connecting, and Summit's going to be okay. So is T1, and I guess nothing really happens.
This is the type of game I want to kick off Swiss stage.
Absolutely.
A lot is going on, and it starts off, if you're a T1 fan, you've seen this one before, but this time around, there is no cross-map play. There is no grand plan. Faker just dies. And I really like the proactive use of teleport here from Team Liquid to then set up the Baron. The downside is there is still 4 people for T1, and a lot of resources have to be invested to take out Oner. The poke from Ashe and Jayce is so pivotal. I actually would have loved it if TL here just go all in on the engage, right?
Summit's all out was absolutely fantastic
it was,
there to get rid of Oner.
Because the follow-up engage from T1 is a disaster for Liquid, right? And if they also had gotten the Baron, it would have been a complete wash. But instead, I think TL, the fact that they are able to hold on to one of their Baron buffs is nice, but I don't think, it's a minus 600 Baron power play. The Red Bull Baron power play has seen better days.
Yeah, it's somewhat. It's not exactly the greatest debut of the Red Bull Baron power play for the Swiss stage. However, we'll see what can happen here as Pyosik still has the buff for another 40-odd seconds. Scat of the week, not going to find Oner there. Proving himself strong, I guess. And Summit going to clear out this mid lane. Still Outer in the mid lane, up and available here. TL going to have to try and break that one open. The map really has been their worst enemy as T1 have really opened it up for themselves. And I think that's starting to provide a bit of a problem here for the North American representatives.
And for TL, not getting anything out of this Baron is unfortunate. It goes both ways, right?
Hey, they take it off the map.
That is true. And that against T1 in particular, I think that is valid. At the same time, though, the standing gold can be a blessing and a curse. If you ever do get a decisive teamfight win, you immediately can balloon up to pretty ridiculous amounts, particularly if you would have had the Baron buff still on anyone that wasn't Pyosik. But at the same time, it also means the map control and safety that T1 still has because of that mid lane turret makes it really hard, because I do think TL, every fight should start with a pickoff, maybe on Faker.
Yeah.
Pyosik deep in enemy territory.
Going for it there as the kick does come through. Of course, Sonic Wave is going to connect as well. CoreJJ looks for the opportunity, but the hostile takeover is there. Keria always takes care of his friends. Pyosik, he even goes golden, going to be able to avoid the arrow with that. The rest of TL gets into position. This is 2022 Worlds. Pyosik, like, this is incredible.
He's doing it!
He's doing it again, Chronicle.
No, it's just an inner.
I mean, and it's also just one play.
Yeah.
But, like, we like to get excited about these sorts of plays.
We should.
Exactly.
Man, we've been deprived the pleasure of casting Pyosik for a full year. You know what? I'm gonna enjoy it.
Same.
Hey,
are you going to enjoy it, Chad?
This is intense.
Yeah.
I just have to say, I think TL has a small chance of winning this one, but it's small.
I
don't want to distract your chance too
How
much.
are you feeling?
We upgraded to 70-30. Where are you going?
So my heartbeat is currently at 125 BPM, according to my
I think
watch.
mine's 140.
And that's probably lower than what some of these TL guys are at right now. Pyosik is playing out of his mind. He actually feels pretty calm to me. So this is the problem with Team Liquid, though. And I hope they've been able to overcome it in the last 2 months. They've had so many early games where they were ahead or behind in gold. And this feels like a classic NA versus Korea game where they feel like they're getting all these kills. But no matter what, they are behind in gold. They get Baron, they're still behind in gold. But I will say, that does give you that slimmer of hope. And I had to express my excitement.
No,
Yeah,
of course.
you're
Very
sticking
welcome.
around, right?
If you want me to, I don't want to lose the cast.
Absolutely.
No. This isn't we're going to hear from Jat standing by. This is now it's a tricast. So welcome. And
I'm
we'll
here
see
for the Jatless reunion.
I feel like
man,
you've been doing
2019 the last time
You've been
we
doing an
cast together.
amazing job, but look at this. This is rare that after 25 minutes, TL gains gold on T1.
Yeah, the goal difference, overtime powered by AWS, letting us know that, yeah, T1's macro is still pretty good.
I'm going to be looking as well towards the death cap finishes. Both Faker and APA are getting really, really close. And at that point, if anyone gets caught by anything, be it a stray out from Oner, be it Pyosik going insanely deep as he has been doing throughout the entirety of this game, and you're going to get blown up in seconds. And we'll see whether the AD carries are able to really make their mark on this game.
And I really do have to wonder about Yeon at the moment. He's been on the back foot this entire game. I feel like they banned the Caitlyn really early on in the draft phase because they were scared of the laning phase, but then they had to go with the team fight pick for CoreJJ because I don't think they felt like they'd be able to win this game with Core on something like Lulu against Ashe Renata, where they might lose the lane anyway. So he's down 60 CS, he's been on the back foot the whole game, and he has to worry about Shock Blast and Orianna Shockwave. So it's such a difficult game for him, but the fact that he has 2 Summoner spells up right now before this next Dragon or Baron fight would be the window where he has to execute in a team fight to give TL an advantage.
I want to reiterate again, the best of ones in Swiss are so important because it seeds you for the rest of the bracket, right? A win here today means that you're only a single win away from making it towards those best of threes, the ability to win.
And right now, TL is looking to peel. They're hoping to get the teleport and then peel. They do not want to flip this.
Keria is just going to get caught out of position. CoreJJ
Let's
is
go.
there, and that is going to be the pickoff to start this one. Even the Rift Skull is going to stay with the kick on the Faker from Pyosik. It does not stop from this man today. And Oner down to 50%. Of course, Summit's got the Q3, and it's a
Junker's
double
gone.
for APA, and that's going to be a Baron for TL.
Pyosik is legitimately the defending world champion, getting 2 kills for TL. No jungler for T1. That's the second Baron of the game.
2 for 2 for Liquid.
I'm giving it at least 50-50 now, boys. 100%. That is going to be the secure of the Baron. And I have a feeling this Rebel Baron power play is going to be a bit bigger than the last one.
And Pyosik in the quote says, we're going to have fun. You know, when it's not looking good.
It looks pretty fun if you're not an
He's
LCK
having a great
fan.
time.
I will say, one of the Achilles heels of Team Liquid during the regular season was their execution of Baron power play.
Get out of
I
here,
have to watch
Jet.
this. I have to keep hope low. That's how we got here in the first place. But right here, CoreJJ never showed. T1 did approach because they didn't have perfect vision on the Baron. They get the first kill. And Pyosik on the TP was godlike.
Man. And he's got the GA ready, so he's able to get that resurrection through as well. And so Oner just going to be caught out in T1. Once the cards start falling down, this composition can fall apart. And TL, as you can see, understandably losing their minds.
And they know what this means. Look, with this new format, this one win, as Chronicler is mentioning, is way more important than one win in the 6-game group stage, because it will actually catapult them in to being one best of one away from a qualification match. It's actually much more important.
And that's going to remain true for the next 2 best of ones, right? Like, if they do win here.
We know there's always crazy upsets at Worlds, right? Every year, pick'ems are never the way that you'd expect. Never. But to open the Swiss stage, if they can make it happen, will be incredible. Right now, though, Baron power play actually working out okay.
Summit has to be able to escape this.
Trying to get out of the way, but the Glacial Prison is going to connect. The arrow is going to sail wide. He tries to all out his way through. Does still have a bit of a shield, but Faker will finish him off now. Still, needed a lot of resources to lock that one down, as Baron is going to be utilized to try and take down this inner turret as well. But T1 going to get themselves into position. The volley is going to tag them. Not going to push into the fog of war is T1. They're trying to just holster their guns a little bit here.
Yeah, Yeon cleansing the slow there just to ensure that there was no follow-up, that he's able to make his way out. And Pyosik still going, still looking continuously for this backline access.
Faker does have no TP, so it technically is a 4v4, which I think is why he's trying to play aggressive, and they don't want to lose this Baron. With Summit being dead for another 20 seconds, he'll join once he has teleport, but that's actually been the issue. Summit led the LCS in isolated deaths, and so many of those did happen in situations like this, where he's pushed up, and the team isn't able to counter the play of T1 sending everybody for Summit, so that completely stops the momentum of this Baron power play, and it's been a problem all year for TL.
That one goes back a few years before that as well. I say as an old Sandbox fan, as you point out, Jet, it's the fact that the rest of the team is backing while he is this far up, and this kind of takes out the pretty decent Baron power play they were setting up. They were about 1,500 up here, maybe could have gotten another inner if they synced it up a little bit better, but now, for all accounts, gold 2K at this point in the game, not going to be the big difference maker.
100% irrelevant. 2 dragons apiece now, as well as TL were at least able to collect themselves their first Cloud Drake of the game, so we're not talking about a soul just yet, until this next one is going to be taken down in 2.5 minutes. But the Baron is going to be the conversation at that point in time. TL, we'll see whether it's 3 Barons that they'll require, as these shock blasts, man.
They hurt so much. Yeon working on what looks to be a Guardian Angel. It'll allow him to play a little bit more aggressive, but you can see he's just so far behind the curve of Ashe. Chronicler, I'm having a hard time being unbiased with my analysis right now. Who do you think has better scaling? Just champion-wise.
Arrow. APA just walks out of it.
I'm leaning T1 because I think Orianna right now is the best team fighting mage you can get.
Fair.
But if Pyosik can find an angle, like I think it's pretty close. I'm leaning T1, but I do think that Ashe has a much harder time with having a high impact in fights than Aphelios. A single blue ultimate with crits combined with like an auto or 2 can basically single-handedly win a team fight. And I think for Guma, he actually needs to have the space. Did go with damage build, which I'm very happy about, because otherwise I think T1, they don't have the scaling as Pyosik.
He might need to just try and kick Zeus away from this one. Doesn't have to use his flash, though, as Keria was looking to make his way in. Shock Blast not going to connect quite as well. And continue on, gentlemen.
Yeah, I do think it's close, because what I see a little bit of is just the fact that T1 doesn't have a true front line. It's just one Sejuani who's starving gold. Makes them very squishy, so if APA can land any stun, there's a chance he one-shots, and they actually have a much better front line with Summon and Core if they play the fights correctly.
And I think as well, that's why Keria also going for Radiant Virtue here on the Renata, trying to Build was Equinus.
Scatter the Weak trying to come forward here. Summit just by himself, finds himself, and Keria the Magnus Storm under 3. It's gigantic, and Summit's going all out. He's going to get out of the fight as well with Gumayusi. He's taken down Yeon already. And CoreJJ, both of them are going to go golden, and it's T1 that just roll over the top of TL, and even Summit will not be allowed to escape as Gumayusi looking to chase after him. He's got the ward in the brush. And I have a feeling Summit, by going the wrong direction, is probably still going to die.
After a 35-minute nail-biter with 2 Barons going over to TL, T1, well, they don't get the clean ace because Summit stays alive, but...
They were winning until they weren't. Chronicler, and that is going to be the Nexus turrets falling down. Our observers following the story of Summit, but it's the Nexus that needs to be addressed, and T1 are going to take the first game of Swiss. We're going to need a ladder for you, Jad, by the way, to get back up to the analyst desk, I think.
That's a great way to start Worlds.
Yeah,
it actually is. It was an amazing game. TL played their hearts out. T1 clutched up when they needed to in that final team fight. And you guys did a great job. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming, Jad. We needed you.
Glad you were here. And if you thought that after the World's Finals, the nightmares of T1 players were going to be haunted by Pyosik, I know they won, but I guarantee you,